T and B cells, or lymphocytes, are end products of adaptive immunity. Each T and B cell specifically recognizes only one particular antigen. T cell maturation, they're in the thymus, which is the central lymphoid organism of T cell development. They move from the thymic cortex to the medulla, released into blood, and take up residence in the secondary lymph organs to wait for antigens. B cell maturation, they're in the bone marrow, and they're also called stem cells. I know you've heard of stem cell research and stuff like that. And they're production of BCRs, and we'll get into that in a little bit. So to start out with humoral immunity, which is one of the acquired immunities, it works with the B cells, and circulating antibodies are the primary cells, causing direct inactivation of a microorganism or activate inflammatory mediators, causing direct inactivation, totally just read that, primarily protecting against bacteria and viruses. With this, again, primary cells are your B cells and the circulating antibodies. Functions, I read that, cause direct inactivation of a microorganism of the inflammatory mediators, and it provides protection against bacteria and viruses. With cell-mediated immunity, your primary cells are your T cells. Your function is your T cell differentiation, kills targets directly or stimulates the activity of other leukocytes, and it protects against viruses and cancer. Together, the humoral immunity and cell-mediated immunity, they work way more rapid when they're exposed to the same antigen, and they provide immunity and memory also when they work together. With active and passive immunity, you've got an active immunity. It's antibodies or T cells are produced after after either a natural exposure to an antigen or after like an immunization. So this would be like when you go get your flu shots, and is long-lived. Passive immunity is performed antibodies or T lymphocytes. They are transferred from a donor to a recipient. Occurs naturally or artificially, and is temporary or short-lived. And then something else that I read was an IgD antibody functions as one type of a B cell antigen receptor. T and B cell receptor complex. They both recognize and bind differently. I'm not going to get into big details on those.